obviously I love it here and everything else, and I think there's a lot more to do. And I said to you guys before, I always just trust God in the process and all that.
Russell Wilson's post-Seattle Seahawks career has been absolutely insane. After being traded to the Denver Broncos, having the worst season of his career, having a bit of a career resurgence but not being able to get along with Sean Payton, getting released for absolutely nothing, leading to the Broncos sustaining the largest cap hit in NFL history, Russell Wilson rebuilt his value with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Steelers are probably not going to bring him back. But why? And if that's the case, then where would Russell Wilson go instead? Before we get to the content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to get the latest NFL news. And now that we get all that out of the way, work! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Pittsburgh Steelers fans don't know how to feel about their team currently, and to be honest, I can't really blame them. If you just look at the last time the Steelers have made it to the playoffs since 2017, they got decimated by the New England Patriots, they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, they lost to the Cleveland Browns in embarrassing fashion, then would lose to the Chiefs, miss the playoffs, lose to the Bills, and then this past year, they lost to the Baltimore Ravens. They haven't won a playoff game since January 15, 2017, and a lot of fans are pointing the blame finger at Mike Tomlin. And I can't really blame them, because if you go even further behind their last playoff game, I mean, in 2015, they lost to the Broncos in the divisional. In 2014, they lost to the Ravens in the wild card. In 2012 and 2013, they missed the playoffs. And in 2011, they lost to Tim Tebow. It was truly embarrassing, and this is a team that hasn't really experienced success since Aaron Rodgers beat them in the Super Bowl. And that was almost 15 years ago. But despite that, Mike Tomlin has plenty of respect in the NFL. I mean, Devontae Adams said this recently.
I love Mike. I think anytime you have a coach that's a player's coach and you can tell that they got a way with their guys, you know, those type of coaches, whether they coach me or not, they always win me over. So I've had nothing but respect for him, and it's been mutual.
Why? Because players like to play for Mike Tomlin. He's respectable, he knows how to motivate his players, and he's consistently had a winning record in the NFL. I personally don't think that this past year's lack of success is because of Mike Tomlin. I mean, TJ Watt doesn't want to leave.
I want to be a Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys know that. I don't want to leave this place. I want to be part of the solution. I've put so much into it here. I mean, I want to help Cam Hayward get to where we need to get. I want to be a part of the solution. I don't want to leave this place. I love the people here. And that goes beyond just the coaches.
And there's some pretty interesting scenarios for the Steelers coming up. One of the biggest questions over this past year was what were the Steelers going to do in regards to the most important position on the field. I mean, it's very difficult moving on from a legendary quarterback like Ben Roethlisberger. And once their franchise QB moved on, they were very aggressive in trying to fill that void, drafting Kenny Pickett. And when Kenny Pickett clearly didn't seem like he was working out, they decided to bring in Russell Wilson and trade for Justin Fields. This was seen as a very aggressive attempt to solve their quarterback problems. And upon signing both of these individuals, it seemed like the answer was there in the form of Justin Fields. Justin Fields was dominant as the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, leading them to a 4-2 record, 10 total TDs, 1,338 total yards, and he solved a huge problem that the Pittsburgh Steelers had. Whatever the pocket broke down, Justin Fields was able to pick up some extra yards with his legs. And this was very valuable considering the fact that the Steelers had no offensive line, something that Justin Fields was very used to on the Chicago Bears, by the way. You might be wondering how terrible the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line was. Well, here's a clear example of it. In this particular play, the right tackle literally forgets what sport he's playing. Justin Fields steps up and is able to pick up a first down as a result of it. Fields definitely displayed significantly more potential on the Steelers this past year, primarily because he had a huge upgrade at offensive coordinator. But despite that, the Steelers decided to bench Justin Fields and made Russell Wilson the starting QB. Now, personally, I don't think this was necessarily the worst decision because Russell Wilson brought in a brand new dimension to the Steelers offense. But the problem was this is 35-year-old Russell Wilson, so he wasn't necessarily going to be capable of picking up yardage the way Justin Fields was able to do with his legs. But despite that, Russell Wilson put together a pretty solid season with a brand new team and a brand new system with brand new wide receivers receivers and a brand new head coach, Russell Wilson threw for 16 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He was significantly more conservative this year, but he was able to lead the Steelers to a 6-5 record. Unfortunately, a bulk of those losses came at the end of the season, as the Steelers would lose their final 4 regular season games and then lose to the Ravens in the wild card round. I mean, it was the worst time to go ice cold in the season. And following the game, George Pickens didn't really give us a lot of hope about this team's future.
George, you've been with this offense now for 3 years. Have you seen signs of growth, and how much more does this team still need to grow offensively?
Yeah, I've seen signs of growth for sure. From past, the first year I've been here, just way more growth for sure.
George, does that make you optimistic going forward?
Nah.
Today's video is sponsored by Prize Picks. They're running a Super Bowl free square for Patrick Mahomes. Lately, I've been doing really well with my picks. I've been averaging at minimum a pick a day, and I've been making my followers a lot of money. I pretty much discovered that if you run 4-man power plays and you hit at least 1 out of every 10 4-man power plays, you 10x your money. So you break even if you hit 1 out of every 10 of your power plays, meaning you only need to hit 2 out of every 10 of your power plays to make money. So far, I've been averaging about 4 out of every 10 of my power plays hitting, and my results speak for itself. People have been hitting me up in my DMs thanking me as well. If you want to give it a shot, I give away my picks on Instagram at @TheFlightMike. And if you haven't signed up for Prize Picks, make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. I mean, you have to understand, whenever you face off against a division rival in the playoffs, there should be a decent chance that you could beat them. This is a team that you faced off against 2 other times in the regular season, which leads us to a huge question about the Pittsburgh Steelers' future. We already know that they're going to bring back Mike Tomlin. I mean, he's leading you to playoff appearances and winning records consistently. He's never had a losing season. The Steelers would look ridiculous if they moved on from him, and to be honest, at this point, it's way too late. But there's a question about what is their future going to look like under center. If you guys remember, about 2 weeks ago, Mark Kaboly reported that there may have been some issues between Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith. Now, I want to make something abundantly clear. This isn't to say that Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson hate each other, but in this article by Kaboly, he mentions that the Steelers offense was expected to have a run-first, play-action, pass-focused offense in 2024, which it did, but there was one main problem. The rushing attack was never consistent due to a struggling offensive line, which hindered the ability to catch defenses off guard with play action. Despite this, the game plan never seemed to waver, and that may have caused some issues internally. There have been some rumors that quarterback Russell Wilson and Arthur Smith didn't have the best working relationship, especially towards the end of the season. When asked about that in a recent fan chat, Jerry Dulac mentioned that he wouldn't exactly call it friction, but the duo was pretty similar to some from the past decade or so. Friction is a strong word, but there was some type of disconnect between the way Wilson wanted to play and the way Smith wanted to play. Not so uncommon, think Ben Haley, Ben Canada, and Pickett Canada. Now, if you guys remember, he had a similar issue with Pete Carroll, and this is something we covered during Russell Wilson's final season with the Seahawks. Russell Wilson was pursuing the 2019 MVP, and leading up to an October 2019 game at the Atlanta Falcons, Wilson's fast start had made him one of the prime early season contenders for the MVP, an award he badly wanted to win. With the Baltimore Ravens and eventual winner Lamar Jackson on a bye, this was Wilson's chance to pull ahead. He threw 2 touchdowns as the Seahawks jumped out to a 24-0 halftime lead, but he only attempted 5 passes in the second half. Wilson was livid at how Pete Carroll had taken his foot off the gas, believing it had cost him a chance to grab a hold of the MVP race. If you guys remember, Russell Wilson was obsessed with winning the MVP during his final seasons with the Seattle Seahawks. I'm sure he's way more humble now as a result of what's happened to him ever since leaving the Seahawks. Honestly, you can make an argument for either side. I mean, on one hand, if you take a look at the plays that were drawn for Justin Fields in comparison to Russell Wilson, I mean, Arthur Smith wasn't drawing up stuff like this for Russell Wilson. But at the same time, Arthur Smith has said this about Russell Wilson.
Don't take that for granted. When we put installs in, normal human behavior is you're looking to see, am I the primary here or whatever, but everybody feels like they got a chance. And then naturally certain guys take over games, but you definitely want to do that because I think it makes you harder to defend. And that's really the reality of it.
Russell Wilson went as far as to praise Arthur Smith about a week ago.
You like Arthur? Oh yeah, I like Arthur. Anytime you lose a game or two, or whatever it goes on, people always try to tear things down. I think Arthur's just a great coach. I think obviously has been a head coach. We love trying to find ways to compete every day and just get better. So he's a great coach.
And you got to give credit where credit's due. I know it was a bad ending to the season, but considering the pieces that the Steelers had on offense, this is significantly improved over the Matt Canada era. So if this is the case, what is the future going to look like for the Steelers and Russell Wilson? For the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you have to choose between a 35-year-old quarterback and a 26-year-old quarterback that you've had success with over the beginning of the season, it's a no-brainer that you're supposed to bring back Justin Fields. I mean, bring back Justin Fields. If Aaron Rodgers is available for a trade, you could trade for Aaron Rodgers. I don't really think that's going to happen. I mean, we're going to have a video on Aaron Rodgers' future coming out very soon, and that's its own can of worms. The owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers has mentioned that he wants Justin Fields or Russell Wilson to be signed, but when Art Rooney was asked would he bring back both quarterbacks, he said, I wouldn't close the door, but I'd say it's probably unlikely. I think both of them see themselves as starters, and I don't know that they want to share the same job again next year. So I would say most likely we probably won't wind up bringing them both back. He also mentioned that they're both capable quarterbacks, and my preference would be to sign one of them. So that'll be the priority, and I think that'll give us the best opportunity to move forward. We've got a whole quarterback room to fill, and so there's jobs open in there. I wouldn't be surprised if we look in the draft as well, either this year or next. So that's got to be the priority. I think whoever is willing to sign a 2 or 3 year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers at about $25 to $30 million a year is going to end up getting the job, but I'd imagine that the Steelers were going to lean towards Justin Fields because he had success in the beginning of the season. Arthur Smith was able to create an offense around Justin Fields a little bit easier than Russell Wilson. The only person that might be unhappy is George Pickens based off of the earlier part of the season and his chemistry with Justin Fields. If the Steelers are able to improve their offensive line, I could definitely see Justin Fields taking the next step. So that brings the question, who is the most likely team to sign Russell Wilson? Well, there's multiple suitors. The New York Giants clearly need a quarterback, especially after cutting Daniel Jones. Now, fans are probably going to expect the New York Giants to take a quarterback with their number 3 overall pick, but I'd imagine the Giants also taking an approach that is similar to what the Atlanta Falcons did last year, where they signed Kirk Cousins to a contract and then decided to draft Michael Penix in the first round of the NFL draft as well. And in this particular case, I could see the Giants doing the same thing, particularly because there's a chance that one of the quarterbacks don't fall to them. Yeah, the Tennessee Titans are throwing smoke screens at them saying that they are not going to miss on a once-in-a-generation type prospect, and I believe when they say that, they're not talking about Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, but I think they're talking about Abdul Carter. This could be a gigantic smokescreen because the Titans clearly could use a quarterback. Get this, analysts are already saying Abdul Carter's the closest thing we've seen to Micah Parsons. Gee, I wonder why that is. I really wonder why they believe he looks like Micah Parsons. I mean, down to the jersey number and the school he played for. I wonder how long it took for scouts to draw this parallel.
Oh, he's an edge rusher for Penn State. He wears number 11, so he's Micah Parsons.
Jokes aside, if the Giants can't draft a quarterback, or if they can draft a quarterback, it doesn't hurt to have Russell Wilson there on a $15 or $20 million contract. But obviously, that's not the exciting move that could be made. The move that I think everyone in the NFL wants to be made is Russell Wilson joining the Las Vegas Raiders. Things are looking up for the Las Vegas Raiders for the very first time. Now that you don't have Mark Davis making decisions and Tom Brady's influence is clearly being felt, and things are starting to look up for this franchise. I think it's hilarious because Tom Brady's a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, which he totally did screw over in the earlier part of his career. Immediately, he hires a head coach who was robbed of a Super Bowl as a result of Tom Brady's team, but honestly, I think Pete Carroll did that to himself. But immediately, you could see everyone's so excited about Pete Carroll being hired by the Raiders. I mean, if I'm a Raider fan, I'm excited. It's not as flashy as the John Gruden hiring, but he is a damn good head coach. There's no disputing that. I mean, you can see Marshawn Lynch was excited.
Pete, you got a surprise visit.
Oh, no,
Look at this.
What are you doing? Were you up there the whole time? You ain't hear me yelling at you? No, I didn't. Was that you that yelled? You the one that said that? You the one that yelled Raiders? Who else gonna yell at you?
I mean, remember, Marshawn Lynch loves the Raiders. I mean, he loves Oakland, and he signed with the Raiders for a brief part in the end of his career. But in the middle of Pete Carroll's press conference, Marshawn Lynch started cheering for him.
I know that we have a good draw for people from out of town. There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
So obviously, this parallel makes a lot of sense. The Las Vegas Raiders desperately need a quarterback. And when you bring in a quarterback like Russell Wilson, what that allows you to do is focus on other areas on your offense. Maybe you draft McMillan out of Arizona to pair with Brock Bowers. You have Max Crosby on the defensive side of the ball. You have a pretty solid offensive line as well. You reunite Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson's clearly going to be a little bit more humble at this point. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, 2 anonymous former Carroll assistant coaches said they believe Wilson and Carroll can coexist after they rekindle their relationship on the heels of a rocky ending together with the Seahawks. One of Carroll's former assistants told Fowler, I think both would be open to it, especially with this QB class the way it is. And another predicted that the Raiders will sign Wilson in free agency. It's just so interesting seeing how much Russell Wilson was probably humbled as a result of this situation. It's like,
I'm sorry, Pete. Thank you for masking my deficiencies as a quarterback. Please take me back.
But as a fan of football personally, I just love to see this. I mean, Russell Wilson would get to face off against Sean Payton twice a year to get some revenge against him and the Denver Broncos. I always predict this division being the most competitive in all of football, and this past year, it was one of the most competitive divisions in all of football. But it seems like the Raiders are making up some ground here. When Pete Carroll was asked about the possibility of this happening, he didn't really shut it down, saying it's so early and we're just in the midst of trying to find the puzzle pieces, not even putting them together yet. So I can't even say. Free agency hasn't come yet, but I promise you, if you're a real competitor, you're not letting options get away from you. The thing about the NFL is no coach can say,
Yes, we're signing this player for sure.
The only thing they can do is either shut down the rumor and say there's virtually no chance that we're pursuing this guy, or just ambiguously hinting that they're open to everything, which means, yeah, we might be down to sign that guy. I'd personally love to see it, but at the end of the day, there's no question about it. The Raiders are significantly improving this offseason, which is more than I can say about my Dallas Cowboys. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about Russell Wilson's future? Do you expect him to return to the Steelers? Do you expect him to join the Raiders? If you're a Steelers fan, what would you like to see them do at the quarterback position? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.